All right. Happy color. Interesting shade of light. I figured I'd jump out. This whole YouTube thing is nuts because I set the thing for, 9:30? And then it said, okay, now. So there was no timer. Then I go back in and I go to push it back to 9:30. Then it comes back up and it says December 31st, 1969. One person waiting. Like, okay, this is very weird. And then I went in and I pushed it to, I think, 9:35. Oh, look, 17 people are here. And I decided we better hit the play button. So how do they say that? We are live. All right, listen, I figured I'd just jump in and do a quick hello. And in all of the thank you notes I sent last week, every one of them I said, be vigilant. So our first link here is a very interesting tweet that I got like in the middle of the night, not as a tweet, but as a forward from Miss Karen. And this is from a dude named Alexander somebody. He's quite an interesting character, but I'm going to put the link in, and you don't need Twitter to read it, but you can check it and scroll up and get it to the beginning because he's talking about the Club K stuff. Remember we talked about the Club K? And what if they fired, cruise missiles from inside the U.S. into various places? Well, let me put it in kind of, cryptic terms. How long was George W. Bush in the White House before September 11th happened? Okay? He was there from January 20th until September 11th. So, does this mean that a massive terror attack has to occur, false flag or not, on the first day in office? No. So, I'm thinking, be vigilant. Obviously, the bad guys, too many thoughts. They want to make sure he executes as many of his little executive orders that he can do. And I don't know, I think he did 15. Somebody told me 17. I chuckled. I said, really? That would be interesting if he did 17. Would that be sarcasm or a Q clue? Or would that show that Q was really on the other side? Well, now, I don't know how many. Did he do 15? I'm going to find out and go through them. And we'll discuss that in depth later, not now because I don't have a handle on him yet. But it appears that he wants to rejoin the Paris Accord and a bunch of other things. And I don't know if these are effective, if they're enforceable, etc. That's a whole other question. But here's some fun. I know we want to have some fun. So go and check the website, Antifa.com. Remember that? When you used to go there, it would redirect to Joe Biden's campaign, the funding page. Well, if you go there and do it now, it redirects to the White House. What do you make of that? Now, realistically, anybody who's controlling that domain can put in a redirect, but I think it's curious, don't you? All right. So to celebrate, did everybody have Chinese food for dinner? That's funny. China Joe. Maybe his theme song should be China Grove by the Doobie Brothers. No, wait, that's Hunter's theme song. Come on, FJ, you going to do stand-up comedy tonight or sit-down comedy? China Grove by the Doobie Brothers. That's Hunter Biden's song. Come on, nobody thinks that's funny. Okay. Well, how about this? Shall we say, in celebration of the new Green Deal and the coming food shortages and, the lack of meat, I decided to have a steak dinner tonight because I was feeling carnivorous. That was pretty good with sweet potatoes and a nice, healthy salad. So, you never know. And this wasn't one of those, I can't believe it's meat, impossible burgers that they sell. This is a regular slab of meat. And they're going to be having sirloin on sale soon. They'll stock up in case they decide to run a shortage. All right. But Chinese food for celebrate Biden's victory. Okay. Now, the Club K thing. So in this, there were people that were concerned that there was a little clip of video, and it's in this guy's Twitter thread, talking about a video of all of these ships lined up off the California coast. Now, some people thought they were Navy ships. No, man, these were cargo ships, and they were backlogged, and that happens on a regular basis. Unrelated. The Club K is a problem. Let's think, how many are here, if any? And if they are here, what's your bet that they're not from our own, shall we call them psychopaths inside of our government, so they could be used against us if and when they want to create the claim of domestic terrorism and have further restrictions and destruction of our constitutional rights? Just a thought. So I don't know. Who knows when this is going to happen? The next question is, with all this massive troop presence in D.C., how long are they going to be there? I remember hearing they were going to be there through the end of the month, but is that all of them? Or was that the 6,000? So the 6,000 went to 20 to 25. Some people are saying 65,000. Whatever, okay? Unbelievable. But I spoke to Lynn, who's up in that neck of the woods. She said that the troops are supposed to be leaving tomorrow, the 21st, for one day. I don't know. I'm going to say through the end of the month. Let's see how long they stay. All right, let's see. So we talked about the Antifa website. We've got the Chinese food to celebrate Joe's inauguration. And I'm not going to break chops on everybody who is a diehard opium addict, because what I said repeatedly is what's going to happen to these people, right? So they're going to be in cognitive dissonance, or they could try to rationalize and explain. And I think I said last Sunday, a week ago, when I did my rather tough love rant, that people will probably then come up with a story about how the plan is still in effect. And it seems to me that Miss Polly did that, and I watched her video. But you got to realize, she said her and the Anons and all of those spent 3.5 years, 24/7 researching. How do you take 3.5 years and just flip the off switch? It's pretty tough to do. So there's a transitional period. You have shock, then you have mourning, then you have anger, then you have acceptance. I think that's the order of what happens when you experience a loss. So she goes through an hour-long video, or 58 minutes, and as usual, she does her tremendously detailed presentation. I don't have the link here for you tonight, but I have some other interesting things. She does share a lot of the stuff that I shared, like the thing of the magazine article about Pompeo telling the governors that China has a list of them, and implicitly, we do too. And, they characterize them as either for or against, or maybe. She hit a lot of the stuff that FJ's campers saw. Hello there, Wild Tangent. There's a smiling, winking face. Cool. Then she was like, when we still have this Watnick and what's the other guy's name? Who's the acting SecDef? Miller. So when Miller was introducing Pence, right, he made the statement, oh, well, I want to go off script, Mr. Vice President, and thank you, because we've gone through the most complicated military operation, or whatever he phrased it as, in history. And she's like, well, what was he talking about? All right, let me give you a clue. How about Operation Warp Speed for the distribution of this? Maybe that's what he's talking about, or is it something setting up Q? Then you have the other component where Miller comes in and says, all right, special ops are going to be blue lighter, responding directly to the Pentagon. Okay, I'm assuming that the Pentagon is good guys, which I'm going to suggest they're not right now, and I'll prove it. Not all of them, obviously, but so now you have special ops running from our Defense Department, so they could be running special ops all over the country. Okay, well, if Miller's on our side, for the sake of argument, we'll assume he is, then what happens when the new guy comes in? You decide. So I don't know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, it all fits into the bullshit. Oh, yeah, now firing squads and hangings. Trump authorized that. Lynn Wood was talking about that. So I don't know. Is that a good thing? We'll take you out and put you in a firing squad, or is that an easier way to clear the masses out of those COVID camps? Firing squads. Maybe they'll bring in guillotines or the guillotines. I don't know. Let's ask Marie Antoinette. Only if you serve us some cake. So, I mean, all of this stuff has a two-edged sword to it, and people only want to see one edge of the sword get killed by the other. You know what I mean? Just saying. I'm kind of a little snarky tonight, so bear with me. Let's light up the dead cigarette. There was another thing in there. Let me know when Pachenik shows up on Alex Jones's show. I want to hear about that because Biden's never going to be sworn in. Remember that? Otherwise, he'll never come back. No, he ought to come back and be beaten on the air and forced to eat those He-Man pills until his head explodes like Jones and Corsi. Funny. Would that be cruel and unusual punishment? Then you got Lynn Wood. Then you got Mike Adams. Then you got a whole list of people out there. But the thing is, you know, those who made these absolute definitive statements. What was that one guy? That the space alien guy out of Britain? The special information? Gotta love him. And what about Tenpenny or whatever the hell his name is? Nepal, the dude in his kitchen with no mustache but the beard. Yeah. Anyway, are these just delusional people basing it on their hope, or are they basing anything on evidence? I don't know, but I want to hear what Pachenik has to say. Interesting. All right. So number one is links numbered for you tonight, campers, right? Simon Park has a date with his aliens. Oh, good. Is he going to run video? They're going to transport him up? Beam me up, Scotty? All right, Club K. So this is a concern. There's pictures in this Twitter feed. I mean, he mentions the blue ones. Don't worry about the blue ones. They could be any color. They fit right in, you know. So now he's got people looking for blue ones. Don't worry about blue ones. But they're there. And if they're here. And actually, Lynn sent me another thing saying most countries have hidden missile systems. Interesting. I didn't follow up on it, but I'm not really worried about other countries' hidden missile systems. I'm worried about this shit coming in through the port of Canaveral because of the UAE 35-year lease. No bid contract. Which never got canceled on national security. Why not? I was kidding around with somebody today, and I said, you know, this is very disturbing. And I'll tell you right now, I'm quite irritated, and I'm not going to make a call on this yet, but I think the gut feeling is that this is going to switch Washington back to normal. This is be business as usual. The only question that really infuriates me and causes me anger is how much constitutional protections will be eroded and discarded. All right, that's the real question. This bullshit about the domestic terrorism. There's actually a great piece this evening, maybe 5 minutes, with Glenn Greenwald on Tucker Carlson. And Glenn was brilliantly articulate. And what he said, and I will paraphrase and repeat for you, right, is this. He said, people have got to get away from the idea that one party is on their side and they're adverse to the other party. He said, it's not true. The ruling elite like people in both parties. They control them and they manipulate them. That they like McConnell and they like, who was the other one? Paul Ryan, and they like, whatever, run the list, Marco Rubio. And then on the other side, they like, you know, the equally manipulative or manipulated Democrats, okay? And they're all friends. And I've been saying this for years, literally years, that they're all full of shit and they're all beholden to their puppet masters. and that this is to create the image of the red-blue football game, the black-white contrast, right? Liberal conservative. And when you watch Controlled Opposition of Fox, they try to pretend and actually do a good job of instilling aggravation, anger, discord, and we'll just say the counter-argument, right? But for what purpose? They don't really reveal the truth. Tucker was pissed off at McConnell yesterday when he was talking about him. How dare he threaten the president and stop him from pardoning Assange? Okay, well, has Tucker mentioned McConnell's wife and the Chinese shipping company? Or is that all just, internet fluff? I don't know. You decide. Gee, you missed that one, Tuck. How come he hasn't disclosed that? How come Trump didn't disclose that? Blast that out on the Twitter sphere. Anyway, this thing with Glenn Greenwald was real good. And he was saying, and actually made an interesting point, he said, you could have the extreme, the far left and the far right join on this business of the Patriot, what are we calling this? It's not Patriot Act, it is called the domestic terror thing. I'd like to get a look at this. Anybody know where we can find it? Please post a link. Let's take a read through that, right? Hi, good witchy. So what's his name? Greenwald was saying. He said that the lefties in the Democratic Party, what the hell are their names? The Squad, basically, were very against this Domestic Patriot Act because, especially the Arab and the Muslim crew, they were saying they see how it turned out. And you remember September 11th justified, evidently, the extreme measures. So my concern is that if they're going to try, right, to use this little scene that went down on the 6th as a massive act of terrorism and spin it up as that, as opposed to doing a real terrible attack, false flag, and then say, see, we need to do that because we had supposedly there were marches and protests scheduled around the country, but I think that was for Sunday. I haven't heard of any negative. If anybody has, please post it. And I don't know if there were protests today around the country in conjunction with this inauguration. I don't know if you watched it. I caught the speech online. Thank God it was only 15 minutes. I was watching it. I actually clicked away from it 3 times, and I came back. I said, wait a minute. I'm going to have to listen to this, so I don't want to have to listen to the whole stupid thing again, so let me finish it. So the bottom line is, it was only about 15 minutes. It was complete fluff. It was complete, what do we want to call it, rhetoric. And what is interesting is he hit on all of their left-wing talking points, mentioned the racial disparity or the racial, systemic racism, I think that was his word. And he kind of pushed that a couple of times. And it dawned on me that in light of Martin Luther King's birthday the other day, this guy has reversed it. Martin Luther King said, when the color of a man's skin matters the same as the color of his eyes, then we will be equal, right? Or it makes no more difference than the color of his eyes. So what Biden is saying is the other way around. Now, it's more important to be race-based, and that's where equality comes from. So he's reversed Martin Luther King's vision and the civil rights that he and all of those activists fought for and earned at law, right? So I find that fascinating. I'd love your thoughts on that. That's just my 2 cents. Link number 2, executive order. Now, this is interesting. Trump signed this, I think, yesterday. And this is protecting the United States' certain unmanned aircraft systems. So this would apply to drones, missiles, perhaps, and satellites. I'm thinking, what else? There's something else that would fit in there. But I was thinking missiles when I read that, and I said, oh boy, But that's because that's what I was focusing on, thinking about these KCAB things. So I've got the executive order from the White House website. Okay. Link 3 is Harley Schlanger. Who's saying that? He signed it at 1 in the morning. Interesting. Holly Wiley. You've been on quite a tear in there. I hope you're okay, that this didn't go the way you were planning. Harley Schlanger. This is an interesting synopsis. He put it out today. Now, and I'm putting the link, so if you like Harley and want to follow him, grab this and subscribe, because he's no longer at LaRouche PAC. He's now at LaRouche Organization. Evidently, they had a separation where the American contingent versus the European contingent. But I like Harley's rather sophisticated, calm presentation. And he's very well informed. He's excellent. I don't know that I buy his whole rap. I don't know what doesn't sit right with me, but something doesn't. But his historical analysis is excellent, and this is a good synopsis of it. Check it out. And then here's some entertainment for you. I was going to put this up yesterday just to be a tickler. Trump's private speech, I called it. This is about a minute, 2 minutes. It's on Brighteon. Hopefully it's still up. And it's him in a black background, talking about how what they did was wrong. They know it was wrong. And it's evil and blah, blah, blah. And we can't let this happen, right? Kind of like portending punishment on Inauguration Day. All the drama leading up. Check this out. You'll love it. Is it real? When did he do this? What? Screen Actors Guild. Can you say fake wrestling? Unbelievable. Now, number 5. This is from Meg's little tidbits blast. That's why it's in bold, because I copied and pasted it. This is from GreatGameIndia.com. American Citizens Terror Threat /ISIS is the title. But the title, that's the URL. This is number 5. American citizens now a bigger terror threat to U.S. than ISIS, former DHS counterterrorism official says. Now, you take this in conjunction with what General McChrystal, was he Supreme Allied Commander, blah, 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 and he says the biggest threat to the U.S. is domestic terrorism. And they're talking about white supremacists and white nationalists. So they're putting the race-based and this whole domestic shit. Even Bill Bratton, the excellent police commissioner out of New York, is jumping in on this. So you take a listen, and here's my point. These guys are military. Do you really want military in charge? What if it's these guys who are in charge? Maybe they're not as sworn to the Constitution as you might think. Don't forget the way Esper handled the contemptuous language that was used by both current and retired military generals and flag officers when they were trashing Trump and speaking of the need to possibly have to remove him, etc. There was no warning to them. This violated the Uniform Code of Military Justice, as per Senator Black, who was also a Judge Advocate General and the head of the Pentagon, the JAG prosecution team. So this is a guy who knows the Uniform Code of Military Justice real good. Now, why didn't Esper discipline these guys and put them in a very strong warning and sanction them? Not bring them on charges, put them on notice. Wow, nothing. They can run their friggin' mouths and talk shit, and they shouldn't be allowed to. That's a violation of their oath and of the military code, period. So if these are the guys who got in charge after a military coup, a coup after a smooth transition to military government, you've got bigger problems than these knuckleheads, right? Number 6, a bit out of left field, but it's coming in saying solar storm. Are they going to blame, could we have a crisis with this planetary thing and a solar blast? This was put out a few days ago. It looks like we didn't get hit with this, but it's certainly interesting because that is an ongoing live situation, isn't it? And then I guess my favorite garbage is number 7. And who sent this to me? I think Virginia sent this to me. Fake news. I gotta love this. This is a Supreme Court faces bomb threat for inauguration. This happens just before the whole deal goes on. Now, you tell me. I guess somebody called it in or whatnot. Did they evacuate the building? Well, no. I mean, how many people were in the building? And I thought they were doing their meetings on Zoom and virtual meetings. But now suddenly everybody's there. So you got to read this. This is a CNN, MSN picked up on, what is it called? Politics, Real Politics or whatever. To me, this sounds like pure bullshit propaganda. I don't know if anybody reacted to it, but the timing is perfect. And how exactly did somebody plant a bomb in the Supreme Court while you have 25,000 troops there with lockdowns? So what do you think? It's an inside job? It was one of the law clerks, or was it bogus? All right? I don't know. But that's so ridiculous. It's cute. All right, that's what I got for you, campers. So check that first link, and you'll see about these Club Ks. And my bottom line point here is, aside from just those various perspectives I threw out to come share with you, I still want to see what Pechenik has to say. He's my favorite. And then the space alien we've given up on because, as they say, he's out there. And, yeah, let's see what Mike Adams and Lynn Wood and this whole crew, and people were commenting that Sydney discontinued that case in the U.S. Supreme Court, right? And the reason is that it's moot. So they agreed, her and the state of Georgia, and I guess Secretary of State down there and the governor, they all stipulated out. They bear their own costs, and this goes away. Presumably, the Supreme Court granted that motion. It's a step. So they withdrew it on the grounds it's moot. Doesn't matter. It's kind of like the same thing, the stupidity of the Senate conducting a trial against Trump to what? Convict him. Okay, that's also, McConnell's going to bounce this. This is my bet. He won't even hear it. And why? First, it's moot and it's silly because the guy's already left. You don't have to throw him out after he's already gone. But number 2, the bigger point is that this way it prevents the information, the evidence from being presented, right? And that's the whole point. From day one, that has been blocked out. RT3, R2D2 in Texas. Why are you getting kicked out of chats? People are getting thrown out of chats? Well, that's fine, man. I just ignore you. I'm trying to look at my black screen over there. You're coming in on this side, all the chats, and it's on Jumbo's side. Yeah, so that's the scoop. So again, if you like the thinking, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. But, like your thinking on this, be vigilant. Because this bullshit is not over. And I'm thinking George Bush was in office for what, 9 months before September 11th happened. Do you think, here's the question, do you think that this little stunt on January 6th is sufficient to get a Domestic Terrorism Act passed, or are they going to have to spool this up and do something more terrible in order to support that? That's the first question. And then the second is what Glenn Greenwald, and I'd love to find this with Tucker talking to Greenwald, because Greenwald said that the right-wing Republicans will actually join philosophically with the left-wing Democrats because both will be against setting up this new domestic terrorism. And what Greenwald is saying is that all of the spy data, surveillance stuff that was used against Al-Qaeda and ISIS and all of this stuff is now being sought to be used on the American people domestically. Why? Yeah. And once again, I will repeat, and I'm sure you're sick of hearing it, but I'll say it again until you start screaming at your reps. These people violating the Constitution of your rights are violating their oath to uphold it. They should be expelled from Congress. And one last thing. The media was talking about one congressman or somebody was saying that Trump initiated an insurrection, and that is a death penalty case. Really? And what the hell was going on in Seattle? What the hell was going on in Portland? And continuing. So how come they suddenly can see that as an insurrection and there wasn't an insurrection? It's amazing. The deep state multi-layer planning and the spin is incredible, right? Let's see. Take a look. That looks like an intelligent comment. I like it. We have power in your local government. The feds don't own us. Frogville, we're all being played. Well, I agree with that, man. I said this back at the end of December. I said I was ready to take a pause for a couple of weeks because I thought we were being gamed by both sides, and I still do. Trump packs up. Did he bring his golf clubs with him? And he bails out. Thank you. It's been a great honor. Thanks for calling. Nice chatting. Gotta go. Bye. And hands us off to Biden. All right. Nope, didn't see The Simpsons. Executive order link doesn't work. Oh no, did I screw it up? I'll have to check that, all right? Yeah, hello, Willie. Interesting. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Don't want to drag on here. And I got to hear what Mike Adams has to say about his information and his sources. I also want to hear what Vandersteel says. I don't know. I checked her channel. It's like the last thing that was up was like a few days ago. So let's see what's up. Dwayne Brewer. Well, that's a great show. Mike or this? Right. Oh, Ashley. Oh, you missed it? Okay, listen. Let me do it over for you. Thank goodness we have recordings. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Again, if you like the thing, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. I think we're like 60 people short of 3,000. I guess I should do a show on the other channel, let them know we're still live, ping them, right? RT3, R2D2, you're here. Yeah, I've seen you, and I've seen your comments. Good stuff. You're right, and I don't have time to be screaming at people about weeding the garden either. You didn't have time to listen to it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the Miller speech about Pence. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of predictive programming. I have to talk to Webby about that. I heard, and you guys tell me this, did he say that one of the ways around this problem, and I understand it happened a while ago, and we're looking for it now, that he said we should have UN safe zones? Really? He's going to catch it from me if that was the case, because now we got to wonder what the fuck. Did I just say that? Look, I made it almost the whole show with no F-bombs. All right, listen, I better go before I get spooled up. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys, and we are staying vigilant because there's more shenanigans coming. I got to pay attention to these executive orders. If anybody's got a list of them, pop them in, and we'll check them out, and then I want to see what's going on in the next couple of days. But this is not the time to slack up. Now is when the real work starts. Check out those links on last night's video, please. Those are amazing with David Martin in particular. Those two, number 1 and number 4, I believe. Great stuff, and we'll have to come back with a strategy and get active on that because after all of this side tracking and distraction, what we've got is a confrontation coming right down the tracks at us with a giant vax needle. Oh, good. So we got to deal with that right quick. All right? Okay. All right, we'll see you all later. And you too, Tangent. Don't be too wild. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. And again, I appreciate the support of the channel, and I thank you. Side tracking and tracing. Oh, yeah, with the technology. Brendan O'Connell came out with another one. I watched that. That was a bit extreme, but pretty good. Yep. And that's that. All right. We'll see you all later. Thank you, guys. Bye for now. And they say that? FJ out. Ciao.